Almost got arrested DD and my buddies from a house party. Summer after high school graduation, we always took turns rotating who would DD for us on the weekends. It was my turn. I convinced my mom to let me take her Dodge minivan. It was Grand Caravan purple, bumping stereo, some green overhead lights in the back. It was a fun van to take when you're driving all the boys to parties and stuff. And pick up my buddies, T-Chains, Griff, Beef, Louis T. So I've got 4 guys in the car with me. And 7-5. So I had 5 guys in the car with me. And we go to this house party. I take a wrong turn down this neighborhood street. I'm going like 35 into 25, so I'm going a little fast. And I come down to the end of this cul-de-sac, and it's like 10 o'clock at night because we're going to a house party. And as I come around the corner, this dad comes out, and he's like waving me down. So I'm like, oh, he must be like telling me my headlights are off. Maybe something's going on. Roll down the window. He's like, you're going too fast in my neighborhood. I'm like, whoa. I'm sorry. I've never been down this road before. I saw it was 35. I tried to slow down. He's like, you're going way too fast in this neighborhood. I got fucking kids. And he's like chewing us out. I'm like, hey, trying to be respectful. I'm like, sir, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. He's like, what are you playing, that stupid fucking Pokemon Go game? And I'm like, okay, whoa. Pokemon Go? No, I don't even know what you're talking about. I guess Pokemon Go is like a huge game where you would drive around and like virtually collect Pokemon in like different areas. I never played it. So he was like chewing me out. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. After he chews me out, I roll up the window, and, again, all my buddies are kind of buzzing in the car, right? So they're like, man, fuck that guy. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, fuck that guy. What a dick. So I do this huge burnout in my mom's minivan and, like, drift out of the cul-de-sac, smoke on the tires, and take off out of there. So that was, like, kind of kickstarts our night. So we go to the party. The party itself was nothing special, just like your typical house party. But at the party, there's this one kid, and the best way to describe this kid is the type of kid who thinks he's better than you just because he thinks he's in like the cool kid group, so he thinks that everybody else is below him. So it's like, even though we got invited to the party and it wasn't even like at his house or anything, he was just being really kind of shitty, kind of a dick to me and my friends. So at the end of the night, when we were leaving the house party, we see his car parked up there because he had, a really recognizable car. I'm like, man, fuck that kid. So I like throw an empty beer can at his car. Well, my buddies who are trashed, now they're whipping beer cans, dumping beer all over his car. My buddy 7-5 gets a little too hopped up, jumps up on the hood of this dude's car. He's pissing on the windshield. We're laughing and shit. Now we're hopped up, and, sober or not, I was always down to fuck with shit. So I'm all jacked up, and I'm like, let's fuck with this neighborhood. So I go running. My buddy Griff drills this, like, big wooden post real estate sign. I jump and, like, kick through it, both legs, and, like, land on the ground, get up. We take off to the minivan. Well, when we hop in the minivan, I'm driving. 7-5's in the shotgun. T-Chains and Griffin are in the captain seats in the middle, and Louis T's in the way back of the van. And Louis T's like, Tom, your mom's got groceries back here. And he, like, pulls out some eggs and toilet paper. I'm like, all right, let's go. So as we drive by the douchebag's car that we'd already pissed on, we whip a couple eggs at it, we take off. So now we're in the neighborhood and we're tearing up. We're kind of TPing some shit and throwing eggs, like, just having fun. Well, this dude catches us, and he's going from his car in the driveway to his front porch. So he jumps in his car and he chases after us. So we got to whip out of this neighborhood real quick. We're on this main drag. When we get out on the main drag, I'm like, hey, did we, dump everything out of the car? Because my buddies were drinking in the car, which at the time I didn't even know was against the law. I thought as long as you had a sober driver who wasn't doing anything, you were cool. Because I was a high schooler, pretty naive about that shit. So I'm driving. My buddies are drinking beers. I'm like, hey, did we get rid of all the toilet paper and eggs? They're like, yeah, we're good. Like, no evidence. Let's roll. So I'm driving my mom's van, and these LED headlights come up behind us, and I'm like, ooh, don't like the look of that. And I say to the boys, I'm like, hey, is that a cop? They're like, nah, you're good. They're drinking. I'm, driving, take another left. Car starts inching closer. I take a second left, and when I take the second turn, I see, like, the reflective paint, like, whatever county sheriff. I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, that's a cop, guys. That's a cop. I'm like, tuck everything. And they're like, oh, it's just a cop. So they're tucking their alcohol. Lights come on. And now my adrenaline's pumping. Like, fuck. So I'm like, we got all the toilet paper and eggs out of the car as I, like, pull into this side road to park. And they're like, yeah, we got everything. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pull over. And mind you, I didn't really know what was going on. Cop gets out kind of slow. Flashes on. You know how, like, there's always that intense moment because you can't see back because cops put all their lights on the car, so you can't see back of when the cop's coming or what's going on. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I say to my buddy 7'5", and again, I'm looking back. I'm like, 7'5", get my stuff out, my registration stuff out of the glove box. 7'5's like, yeah, I got you. Cop comes up. Hey, how you boys doing? I'm like, good. And my window cracked, He's like, why don't you roll your window all the way down for me? I'm like, all right, I roll it down. He's like, ooh, smells like alcohol in here. I'm like, yeah, I'm picking up my buddies from a house party. I'm totally sober, didn't drink or nothing. He's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. It's like, are you all of age? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm driving. And he's like, why don't you roll down all the windows? I'm like, oh shit. So he has us roll all the windows down. He's looking at everybody in the car, and he's like, all right, license and registration. I'm like, all right. He's like, do you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, no. I didn't think I was speeding. I didn't think I ran any stop signs or anything. He's like, yeah, no, we got a call from a neighborhood of some intent to vandalize. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, it's interesting. I had no idea. And he's like, yeah, and then I saw you guys have a strand of toilet paper hanging out the side of your van. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you fucking dumb motherfuckers. Like, I don't care how drunk you are. I told you if everything's out of the car or not, So I guess Louis T, when he had jumped in the van, the vans have the sliding doors to shut. He hit the automatic button, didn't check if there was any toilet paper left, so it got stuck in the door, and I'm driving with it, right? So I'm like, this is a bad look. And he's like, yeah, so got a call from a neighborhood. We had to shut down a house party with intent to vandalize from some of the kids coming from the party. I'm like, oh. And then a second cop car pulls up. He's like, you also know you have a taillight out? I'm like, I did not know I had a taillight out. He's like, all right, license and registration. So as this cop's talking to us, and he's like your typical, like the type of cop you would see in a movie, right? Like kind of balding, middle-aged man, not very intimidating. And while he's talking to us, this dude comes up on the right side of the car. Now this cop looks like a prime Sylvester Stallone, like he's all jacked, tatted up, spiked black hair, and he's like, smells like alcohol in here, and like just starts immediately like grilling my buddies. And I'm like, damn, this is not a good look. And he's like, who's driving? Are you sober? I'm like, yes, sir. I haven't drank, haven't smoked. And he's like, smoke? What would you be smoking? I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was just trying to answer your question. Now, looking back on it, they were just playing good cop, bad cop with us. But at the time, like, you don't know that. You don't know that that's the tactic when you're, 16, 17, 18 years old. And you're like, just trying to talk your way out of the situation. And he's like, everybody in the car 18? And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, everyone's 18. Well, I kind of look over to try to get a glimpse of this cop that's on the passenger side of my van. And I look over, and 7'5", who, mind you, is like 5'7", at the time probably looks like he's like maybe 14. And he always took that personal. They didn't, if anyone questioned his age. So he's trashed, and he has the beer drinking baseball helmets where they got like the 2 cup holders on the side for beer with the straw down your mouth. He has one of those on, and I'm like, okay, I don't even know where he got that because he must have picked it up at the party. And I'm like, how did I miss him putting that on at some point in the ride? But whatever. So he's like, take that off your head. He takes it off, and he's like, is everyone in the car 18? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, I need to see IDs. So he's ripping my buddies. And he's like, open the doors. So my buddies both open like the sliding minivan doors, and they all are handing the kind of mean cop their IDs while I'm talking to the cop who takes my registrations and driver's license. And he's like, I'm going to go run your plates, and I'll be back. I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting there, and I'm nervous. I'm like, holy shit. So the both cops go back, and they're huddling. And I'm like, hide the alcohol. Well, Griff had put all the alcohol under like his captain's chair in the middle, right? And he's tucking all these cans in like a drawstring bag with his feet real tight, right? And I say to them, I'm like, do we have any other alcohol besides the beer? And they're like, no. Because I swore when we were leaving, I saw T-Chains and Griff with a handle, like a liquor bottle. And I was like, there's nothing else in the car? Like, no, we're good. All right, cool. So cop comes back. Nice cop. And he's like, your license is good, but your insurance is expired. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, and it's your parents' vehicle? I'm like, yeah, it's my mom's car. And my mom had just got new insurance, but didn't put the new registration card in the glove box with us. And he's like, so I ran your tag. He's like, you got expired insurance. We've got intent to vandalize. You've got underage drinking going on in your vehicle. And he's like, oh, and you got a tail light out. I'm like, okay. Then the mean cop comes back. He's like, all right, we're going to have to empty the car out. Shithead's like kind of yelling at us. And my buddy T-Chain's in the back, who's trash. He's like, hey, we're not shitheads. We're all going to college. And the cop's like, well, I didn't go to college. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, T-Chain, shut the fuck up. And TJ's like, oh, I don't fucking mean it like that, man. Like, just chill out. And the cop's like, you want me to chill? And he's like, oh, man, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just trying to make conversation. And the cop's like, you don't need to make conversation when you're underage drinking and your driver's driving around recklessly and vandalizing neighborhoods. And we're like, whoa, like, chill. He's screaming at us. The nice cop comes up, hands my information back, and says, where are you guys coming from? Because we got a call from, he named some neighborhood that we were in, that we knew was the neighborhood we were in. He's like, we got intent to vandalize from, something view over here. Is that where you guys were at? And we all 5 of us in the car say completely different answers. I'm like, oh no, we're coming from Cincinnati. My buddies in the back are all hammered. Like, oh yeah, we're coming from Lexington. And my buddy, like, yeah, we're from Ohio. Like, we all say like random shit. And the cops are just looking at us like, what? And we're like, we're coming from Ohio. And he's like, all right, whatever. The cop that looks like Rocky, he's screaming at us. He, walks back to his car, shaking his head. And I'm like, we're in some deep shit. The cop looking at me is like, I'm just going to ask you one more time to be honest with me. You're totally sober. And he, like, flashes his flashlight in my face. I'm like, I'm completely sober, sir. Like, I was a driver tonight. I was just picking these guys up from their party. He's like, so where'd the toilet paper come from? I'm like, honestly, it must have come from the kid's house. Like, I have no idea. I really just pulled up and my buddies hopped in the car. So he's like, all right, give me a minute here. And he walks back and he's like, as he's walking back, he's like, I'm going to need you guys to get all the alcohol out of the car. And my buddy Griff, who's sitting directly behind me, is like, what alcohol? And our car reeks of beer. And he's like, I need you to move your feet. I need to get the alcohol under that seat. And Griff's like, this seat? And the cop, you can tell this is the nice cop. He's getting kind of irritated. He's like, yeah, move your feet. So as soon as Griff like moves his feet like 2 inches forward, all these beer cans just roll out. So he's confiscating all this alcohol. And this is, again, the nice cop, because they're playing good cop, bad cop with us. And the nice cop's like, look, if you're just straight up and honest with me, like, is there any other alcohol in the car? And he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, officer, I was just picking him up. I don't know what they brought in the car with them. I think that's all the alcohol. And he looks at my buddies in the back. He's like, any other alcohol? Any other alcohol? And they're all looking, they kind of hesitate. And they're like, no, sir. I promise. Like, that's all the alcohol we have. I'm like, all right, cool. He walks back. So while we're all tweaking, 7.5's in the front, and he's in my ear. I can't believe that fucker didn't think I was 18. I'm like, dude, not the time to be bitching about how young you look, right? Like, he is genuinely upset. And again, granted, all my buddies were hammered, so I give him the pass there. But 7.5's like, I can't believe that fucker didn't think I was 18. Like, he's genuinely upset that they didn't think he looked like he was 18 years old, even though all of our IDs had us at 18. So he comes back, hands all of the mean cop comes back, hands all the driver's license back, and he's like, I'll be back to check your car in a minute. We're like, all right. Like, now they're just really playing games with us. So I hear Griff and T-Chain's in the back. Where's the bottle? And I'm like, is there any other fucking alcohol in here or not? Like, just give it to him. Like, we're fucked at this point. Like, just fucking tell him. Because I'm the one that's going to get in trouble if we don't. Because I'm the driver. Like, I'm fucked if this goes south. And they're like, no, there's no more alcohol in here. We got it. We got it all out. I'm like, are you fucking sure? Because the cops are coming up right now. And he's like, no, there's no more alcohol. Here comes the mean cop on the other side again. And he's like, got his flashlight and he's looking in the car. And there's a fucking liquor bottle, like half drank, pinned between the sliding door and T-Chain's seat. It's like right next to T-Chain's. T-Chain saw it. If T-Chain's would have just half looked down, he would have saw it. So I don't know if they were just that trashed or he just thought they were going to see it. I don't know. But the cop's like, grabs it. And he's like, oh, so you were hiding liquor from us. I fucking knew it. And he's like screaming at us. The nice cop who had come up on the other side just looks so disappointed. He's like, I'm trying to give these kids a break. And they just keep fucking up. And my buddy Griff, like, it's just dead silent in the car. And I've like got my head on the steering wheel. I'm like, we're fucked. And Griff looks at the cop who's ripping us. And he's like, waits for the rant to be done. And he finally goes, officer, I swear, I thought we left that at the party. And I'm like, why? Like, out of all the things to say in that moment, that's what you come up with to say? So I'm trying not to laugh because I'm like, that was fucking hilarious. On top of that, the cops go back to the car. Griff is like, that did not go well. I got to talk to him. So again, all the van doors are open because they're searching our vehicle. And Griff puts his hands out the side of the door. And he's like, officers, can we talk? And he like goes to step out of the van. And they're like, do not get out of the vehicle. And Griff's like slowly slides his foot out the side. He's like, officers, can we please just talk for a couple minutes? I tried to explain. My friend picked us up for the party, and they're like, stay in the car. We will come and talk to you when we're ready. And he's like, okay. And he continues to like slide out of the car, and finally the mean cop's like, I will tase you and detain you if you get out of that vehicle. And Griff's got like both his feet hanging out, his hands out. He's like, okay, fine. I'll stay in the car. So the whole time that the cops are back, then you know how cops do that. Like, I don't know if it's intentional, tactical, or it just takes that long for their computers to run. But they always leave you sitting there for like 20 minutes just, sweating bullets, especially in a situation like that, because you'll have no idea what's going on. It definitely didn't go well the 30 minutes before when they were doing everything. So I'm like, we are fucked, man. Like, we are in some shit. Everybody's silent in the car. And then Louis T's like, did anyone else give them their ID? And we're like, what? He's like, I never gave them my ID. We're like, what? He's like, I just told him I didn't have my wallet. So in that whole jumbled mess, Louis T had never even given them his ID to be identified as 18 or his name or anything. So we're waiting. Finally, the cop comes back, the nice cop. And the other cop's just standing on the opposite side of the car, like posted up with all his tats and his, big ass arms and shit, just staring us down. So the nice cop goes, all right, here's what we got. We've got tail light out, expired insurance, driving past midnight, which I didn't think was a rule for me at the time, but I guess it was. He's like, underage drinking in your vehicle while operating vehicle. And he goes, and intent to vandalize with a toilet paper, which I'm like sitting there like, okay, that's not good. And he's like, long pause, and he's like, we're going to let you guys off with a warning. And I'm like, he's like, we're not trying to like ruin your lives before you head off to college next year, but he's like, these are the type of lessons you need to learn now. Like, you guys could have been in some serious fucking trouble tonight. And I'm like, thank you, officer. Like, I'm so sorry. The other cop on the other side's like, and don't be drinking and driving. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that's why I picked him up. I didn't want any of them drinking and driving. Like, trying to kind of milk it a little bit. And they're like I said, we're going to let you off with a warning, but you need to get these guys home, and they need to, cut them off. No more drinking for them for the night. And T-Chain's in the back, officer, like, I'm so sorry that you didn't go to college. Like, he's just trashed. He's just digging our whole even deeper. I'm so sorry that you didn't go to college, officer. Griff's like, oh man, I'm really sorry, man. Like, we were just having a good time, being dumb folks. Like, just saying stupid shit. And I'm like hitting the automatic buttons for the doors. Like, I gotta get out of here. So we loop around this cul-de-sac. 7-5, who hasn't said a word now. And I still have our windows down, mind you. So the cops are sitting at the top of this hill. The road we got pulled over on, I'm looping around it. As we drive past, all of a sudden, my radio just... And when you already have your volume turned way up and you click a song or something and it just starts blaring? I'm at the stop sign to go on to the main road back to my house. The cops are right here. And all of a sudden, it's just like, fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. And I'm like, oh my God. I turn the music off immediately. The cops are glaring at us. I roll up the windows and I just like wave like the most apologetic look I could put on my face, and I pull onto the main road to head back to where we're staying. And 7-5's like, that's what they get for not thinking I'm 18. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And all my buddies just start dying. Like, we're all laughing about that at that point because, we had gotten out of the situation. And just talk about high school kids never learning their lesson in the moment. We are celebrating the fact that we didn't get ticketed or cited or anything, right? We take T-Chain's to the gas station on the way back to his place. Stop at the gas station for him to use his fake ID to go get us more beers to drink in celebration of not getting a ticket. So, and it was stupid, but one of those things, like in the moment, best DDing night of my life that we got away with that, and I got that story out of it. So, don't always complain about being the DD because it can be a lot of freaking fun. Talk to Tom. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get